Welcome back, coin collectors and history enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating coins in American numismatics, the 1976 USA 1 dime coin. If you've ever picked up a dime and wondered about the stories it could tell, this video is for you. We'll explore its historical context, intricate design, minting details, and the fascinating errors that have made this seemingly humble coin a treasure in the eyes of collectors. And at the end, you'll be in for a surprise, because you'll discover the incredible value of the 1976 1 dime coin that continues to capture the attention of collectors worldwide. Let's start with a little history. The year 1976 was an iconic year in the United States. The country was celebrating its bicentennial, 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Patriotic fervor was high as Americans reflected on the nation's journey, achievements, and future. And during this monumental year, the U.S. Mint released a special series of coins, including the beloved bicentennial quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coin. These coins featured a redesigned reverse to commemorate the nation's milestone, but in all the excitement about the bicentennial coins, it's easy to overlook the 1976 1 dime. Though it didn't undergo any drastic design changes like the other coins of the year, this dime still represents an important time in U.S. history and numismatic tradition. At first glance, the 1976 dime may seem like just another typical piece of currency. On the obverse side, we see the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt's image has been on the dime since 1946, shortly after his death, as a tribute to his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. His likeness is framed by the words, "Liberty" above, "In God We Trust" to the left, and "1976" to the right. Below his portrait, you'll find the mint mark and the letter D for the Denver Mint, or S for the San Francisco Mint, depending on where the coin was struck. On the reverse side, the 1976 dime features the traditional design by John R. Sinnock, which has remained the same since the Roosevelt dime was first introduced. This reverse shows a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. The word E pluribus unum runs along the top of the reverse, while United States of America and 1 dime are also inscribed along the bottom. Nothing out of the ordinary here, right? Well, it's the context surrounding the coin and its minting that truly makes it stand out. In 1976, as part of the bicentennial celebrations, the U.S. Mint was focused on producing an array of coins with special designs to mark the country's 200th birthday. While the 1976 dime didn't receive a dramatic redesign like the quarter and half-dollar, it was still minted in large quantities to meet the demands of a booming economy and celebrate the bicentennial in a more subtle way. At the time, the U.S. Mint was still using a blend of copper and nickel for the production of the dime. Specifically, the 1976 dime is composed of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, making it relatively durable and resistant to wear and tear. It's important to remember that the dimes minted in the 1970s, including the 1976 version, were primarily intended for circulation. And so, they were struck in millions of pieces, ensuring that the dime remained a common fixture in American currency. However, the story doesn't end there. As with any large-scale minting operation, the possibility of errors is always present. Minting errors are a big deal in the world of coin collecting because they create unique, one-of-a-kind specimens that can hold immense value in the marketplace. The 1976 dime is known for having a few distinct errors and characteristics that have caught the eye of collectors. These errors can make a seemingly ordinary coin far more valuable than its face value. Some of the more common errors on 1976 dimes include 1. Off-center strikes. An off-center strike occurs when the blank planchet, the piece of metal that will eventually become a coin, is not properly aligned with the die during the minting process. When this happens, the design is partially or completely off-center, creating a coin that is visually distinct from others. Off-center strikes are highly sought after by collectors, as they are unique, visually appealing, and rare. 2. Die cracks. A die crack is another error that occurs during the minting process. Over time, the dies used to strike coins can develop cracks due to constant wear. These cracks are then transferred onto the coins, creating a distinctive pattern that makes the coin stand out. A die crack on the 1976 dime can be especially valuable, particularly if it's located in a prominent part of the coin's design. Point 3. Double die errors. Double die errors occur when a coin is struck multiple times by the same die, causing the design to be imprinted more than once. This results in a coin with a doubled image, and in the case of the 1976 dime, it can result in a noticeable doubling of the date or lettering. These errors are highly coveted by collectors, as they are rare and offer a glimpse into the complexity of the minting process. Point 4. Clashed dies. A clashed die error occurs when two dies come into contact with each other without a planchet being in place between them. This can cause the design of the opposing die to be imprinted on the coin. A clashed die on a 1976 dime can make the coin even more unique and valuable. Now that we've covered the history and errors of the 1976 one-dime coin, let's dive into why it holds such an appeal among collectors. While the 1976 dime is relatively common compared to some other coins in American numismatics, it still holds a significant place in the world of coin collecting due to its connection to the bicentennial celebrations. Collectors often seek out coins from this era, as they represent a milestone in U.S. history and carry with them the excitement and patriotism of the time. In addition to its historical significance, the 1976 dime's minting errors and unique characteristics make it even more desirable to collectors. Coins with distinct flaws or irregularities are always prized, and the 1976 dime is no exception. A well-preserved coin with an off-center strike, die crack, or double die error can fetch impressive prices in the marketplace, and here's where the big reveal comes in. While the vast majority of 1976 dimes you encounter in circulation are worth only 10 cents, there are some rare specimens that have fetched extraordinary prices at auction. In particular, the coins with prominent minting errors or excellent condition have seen values rise into the tens of thousands of dollars. In fact, some 1976 dimes have been known to sell for as much as $132,000 at auctions. Yes, you heard that right, $132,000. A dime, a coin that is typically worth just 1/10 of a dollar, can fetch an astronomical price if it's rare enough or carry significant minting errors. Collectors who specialize in minting errors and rare coins often seek out these rare 1976 dimes, willing to pay top dollar for a coin with unique characteristics. Whether it's an off-center strike, a double die error, or a pristine coin in perfect condition, the 1976 dime represents the magic of the world of coin collecting. In conclusion, the 1976 USA one-dime coin is far more than just a piece of currency. It's a reminder of the bicentennial celebrations, an era of economic change, and the fascinating world of coin collecting. Its history, design, and minting errors have contributed to its status as a highly sought-after coin in the numismatic community and, as we've learned today, its value, $132,000, is a testament to the allure of rare, well-preserved, or error-prone coins in the world of collecting. So, the next time you find a 1976 dime in your pocket, take a closer look. You never know, your dime might just be worth far more than you imagined. Thank you for joining me today in exploring the fascinating world of the 1976 USA one-dime coin. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin-related content. Until next time, happy collecting. In the second place, we're taking a deep dive into one of the most fascinating coins in U.S. history, the 1994 USA one-dime coin. You might be thinking, it's just a dime, right? What makes it so special? Well, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand the unique qualities that set this coin apart, but you'll also be surprised to learn just how valuable it can be today. In fact, you may even have one of these rare gems sitting in your pocket right now. Let's begin with a bit of history. The 1994 one-dime coin is part of a long tradition that dates back to the early 20th century. It was struck during a period of steady economic growth in the United States, and it's remarkable for several reasons. But before we talk about its place in history, let's first explore its design, which plays a big role in its legacy. Like many dimes before it, the 1994 dime features the likeness of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. This design has been in place since 1946, shortly after Roosevelt's passing, as a tribute to his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. But before you think that the design is simply old news, let's take a moment to appreciate the finer details. On the obverse side of the coin, Roosevelt's portrait is prominently displayed, facing left. You'll find the words, "Liberty" above his head, and to the left, the motto, "In God We Trust." To the right of the coin, you'll find the mint year, in this case, 1994. The mint mark indicating where the coin was produced, whether at the Philadelphia Mint, denoted by no mint mark, or the Denver Mint, denoted by a D, is located just below the year. The reverse side of the 1994 dime features the design created by John R. Sinek, which has remained unchanged since the Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946. The reverse depicts a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. The words "E pluribus unum" run along the top, and below, you'll find United States of America and 1 dime. While these designs may seem familiar, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. What truly makes the 1994 dime unique, especially to collectors, is its historical context, minting details, and potential for rare errors. Let's take a closer look at the minting process. In 1994, the U.S. Mint was still using a mix of copper and nickel to produce the dime, which remains the standard composition today. The coin is made up of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, giving it its characteristic silver-like appearance. While the dime may seem like a simple coin, its creation is far from ordinary. To mint a coin, the U.S. Mint uses presses that strike the blank planchets with great force, imprinting the design onto the metal. It's a process that requires precision, especially for small denominations like the dime. The 1994 dimes were minted in significant quantities, and while they were produced primarily for circulation, the sheer volume of coins made means that some mistakes, or minting errors, are inevitable. One of the most fascinating aspects of coin collecting is the discovery of errors that occur during the minting process. These errors turn what would be an ordinary dime into a rare and valuable collectible. The 1994 dime, despite being produced in large quantities, has a few interesting errors that collectors go crazy over. 1. Off-center strikes. This error occurs when the planchet, the blank metal piece, shifts slightly during the minting process. As a result, the coin's design is stamped off-center. Off-center strikes on the 1994 dime can make for a visually striking coin, and depending on how far off-center the design is, it can become a highly valuable specimen. 2. Die cracks. As the minting process continues, the dies used to stamp the designs onto the coins can develop cracks from constant use. These cracks are transferred to the coins, leaving distinctive marks. A die crack on a 1994 dime can be a subtle but highly sought-after feature for collectors. It's a mark of rarity, and some die cracks can even create die breaks or cuds, which further elevate a coin's appeal. 3. Double die errors. Double die errors are one of the most coveted types of minting flaws in the world of coin collecting. They occur when the coin is struck more than once, causing a slight overlap in the design. In the case of the 1994 dime, a double die error might result in the year, liberty, or other inscriptions appearing doubled, making the coin more distinctive and valuable. 4. Clashed dies. This occurs when two dies come into contact with each other without a planchet in between. As a result, you can see the imprint of one die's design on the other side of the coin. A 1994 dime with clashed dies is a true rarity, and it can be worth a significant premium, especially if the clash is easily visible. 5. Minting on wrong planchets. While rare, some 1994 dimes were struck on wrong planchets, such as a blank meant for another denomination, like a quarter or a $50. These coins are highly sought after by collectors due to their unusual nature. Now, you might be wondering, why are errors on the 1994 dime such a big deal to collectors? Well, the answer is simple. Coin collectors love finding rare and unique items that can stand out from the thousands of coins minted each year. Coins with minting errors are seen as treasures because they tell the story of a mistake, a quirk of the process, and that adds to their appeal. For example, imagine finding a 1994 dime with a massive off-center strike. That coin becomes one of a kind. The same can be said for coins with die cracks or double die errors. These mistakes make the coin more special, and as a result, collectors are willing to pay more for them, but beyond the minting errors, there's also the historical value of the coin. The 1994 dime was part of a series of coins struck during a period of economic stability and growth. It represents an era in U.S. history that collectors hold dear, and for that reason, many people seek it out. Now, here comes the part you've been waiting for, the value of the 1994 one-dime coin. While most 1994 dimes you'll find in circulation are worth just 10 cents, there are some rare examples that can fetch astronomical prices in the marketplace. If a 1994 dime is in pristine, uncirculated condition, it might sell for a few dollars more than face value, but when it comes to coins with minting errors, particularly off-center strikes, double dies, or other rare features, the value can skyrocket. Some of the most valuable 1994 dimes have been known to sell for as much as $122,000 in recent auctions. That's right, a coin that was originally minted for just 10 cents could be worth $122,000 today, depending on its rarity and condition. These rare dimes are often sold at high-profile auctions to avid collectors, who understand the value of these unique pieces of American history. The demand for these coins continues to rise, making the 1994 dime a sought-after prize in the numismatic world. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the 1994 dime is one that you'll want to keep an eye on. So, what have we learned about the 1994 USA one-dime coin? We've explored its history, design, and the fascinating errors that can make this otherwise ordinary coin a true treasure. From off-center strikes to double die errors and die cracks, the 1994 dime holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. And, as we've seen, its value, $122,000, can be mind-boggling for those who are lucky enough to own a rare specimen. Next time you find a 1994 dime in your pocket or wallet, take a closer look. You might be holding on to something far more valuable than you thought. Thanks for tuning in today, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories about coins and their incredible journeys through history. Until next time, happy collecting. In the end of this video, we're focusing on the 2005 USA one-dime coin. At first glance, you might think that it's just another dime, a simple part of everyday life in the US. But as we dig deeper into its history, design, and the rare minting errors that can make it worth a fortune, you'll quickly realize that this coin has a story to tell, a story that could end with you discovering a piece of US history worth up to $108,000. So, let's rewind the clock a bit and take a closer look at how this particular dime came into existence. Before we get into the coin itself, it's important to understand the world in which the 2005 dime was minted. The year 2005 was an important time in the history of the United States. The country was in the midst of recovery from the early 2000s recession, and there was a sense of national pride and economic optimism after the challenges of the previous years. The U.S. Mint was still producing coins with designs that had been in place for decades, but the world was changing, and so were the ways we interacted with money. The year 2005 was notable for the fact that it marked the first time in many years that new designs were being considered for U.S. coins as part of the 50-state quarters program, which had started in 1999. But let's get back to the dime. The 2005 dime would be a regular circulation coin, just like any other year, but it would soon become an interesting specimen for collectors, and not just because of its design. In fact, it's the errors that occurred during its minting that would take it from a 10-cent coin to something worth far more. But before we talk about those rare mistakes, let's examine the design of the 2005 dime. The 2005 one-dime coin featured the same iconic design that has graced the coin since 1946, the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt's image was chosen as a tribute to his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. On the obverse of the 2005 dime, Roosevelt's portrait faces left. Above him, you'll find the inscription, Liberty, and to the right, the phrase, In God We Trust. Just below the year, 2005, is the mint mark, which tells you where the coin was struck, Philadelphia, P, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S, with most of the dimes being minted in Denver. The reverse side of the coin features the classic torch, olive branch, and oak branch design, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. The words E pluribus unum appear above the central design, and the words United States of America and one dime are seen below, this timeless design remained largely unchanged from the original 1946 version, but what makes the 2005 dime stand out is the significant impact that small errors in the minting process would have on its collector value. So let's move on to the next chapter, the minting process and the rare errors that can make the 2005 dime worth far more than its face value. When the 2005 one dime was struck, the U.S. Mint used a combination of copper and nickel to create the coin. The coin has a copper core and is clad with a layer of nickel, giving it that familiar silvery appearance. The minting process itself is an intricate procedure, where blanks, called planchets, are fed into large presses and stamped with the coin's design. The design on the 2005 dime, as mentioned earlier, is the familiar Roosevelt portrait and the reverse imagery of the torch, olive branch, and oak branch, but as with any mass production process, mistakes can happen. Minting errors, while rare, are a major factor in the value of coins like the 2005 dime. These errors are highly sought after by collectors because they are unique. Each error represents a piece of history that was created by accident. Let's take a closer look at some of the common errors that can occur in the production of these dimes. Point 1. Off-center strikes. One of the most common errors that can occur during the minting process is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is struck slightly off its intended position, leaving part of the design outside the coin's edge. Off-center dimes are highly prized by collectors because of the unusual look they create. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, the coin can become a one-of-a-kind collector's item, often fetching hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Point 2. Die cracks. Over time, the dies used to strike coins can develop cracks due to the pressure they endure. These cracks are then transferred onto the coins themselves, creating a die crack. In the case of the 2005 dime, a die crack could form along the rim or even across Roosevelt's face. These die cracks can be subtle, but they add a unique touch to the coin. Collectors often go to great lengths to find these die cracks because they signify a coin that was part of an imperfect strike. Point 3. Double die errors. Double die errors occur when a coin is struck more than once, causing the design to appear doubled. This can result in the doubling of text such as "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or even the year 2005. These errors are highly collectible because they make the coin visually striking. A double die error on the 2005 dime is particularly special because it creates a dramatic effect that sets the coin apart from others. Point 4. Clashed dies. Clashed die errors happen when the obverse and reverse dies collide without a planchet, blank coin, between them, resulting in imprints of one die's design on the other side of the coin. This creates a clash that gives the coin a unique look, often featuring portions of both designs on one side. If you're lucky enough to find a 2005 dime with a die clash, it could be worth a significant amount, especially if the clash is especially dramatic. Point 5. Wrong planchet errors. Though rare, the wrong planchet error is another exciting possibility. This happens when a 2005 dime is accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different coin, such as a quarter or half-dollar. These wrong planchet coins are highly sought after by collectors because they're not only rare, but also because they tell the story of an unexpected mistake during the minting process. Now that we've explored some of the common errors that can occur with the 2005 dime, let's talk about why collectors are so interested in these particular coins. For starters, collectors love coins that are rare, and minting errors immediately add rarity and uniqueness to a coin. An off-center strike or a double die error creates a coin that stands out from the rest of the dimes produced in that year. These errors may only affect a small percentage of the coins produced, making them highly valuable to collectors looking for something special. Furthermore, the 2005 dime is part of the larger numismatic market for Roosevelt dimes. The Roosevelt dime series is one of the longest-running U.S. coin series in history, and the 2005 dime is a notable example in that series. Its value isn't just tied to its rarity but also to the historical context of the coin and its place in the overall evolution of U.S. coinage. By now, you can probably guess where this is going. The 2005 one-dime coin, when in perfect condition or featuring one of those rare minting errors, can fetch a substantial amount of money. You might think that a regular dime, produced in such large quantities, would never be worth more than a few dollars. However, as we've seen in the numismatic world time and time again, the value of a coin isn't always based on its face value. Some of the most valuable 2005 dimes can sell for an astonishing $108,000. Yes, you heard that right. That's the current value of a rare 2005 dime with a significant minting error. The combination of rarity, historical significance, and the allure of errors make these coins highly coveted by collectors, pushing their value far beyond what most people would expect from a simple 10-cent coin. The 2005 USA 1-dime coin is a perfect example of how the world of coin collecting can transform an ordinary object into something extraordinary. From its timeless design to the minting errors that make it so unique, this coin has a special place in the hearts of collectors. And if you happen to find one of those rare, error-filled dimes, you might just be holding onto a coin worth $108,000. So, the next time you find a 2005 dime in your pocket or purse, take a moment to examine it carefully. You might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. Thank you for watching today's video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating coin stories, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, happy collecting.